My youngest, for some reason, got closer to me and he became more loving after that. I can sense that I'm doing the right thing and that I'm taking care of me, and the kids can sense my energy. I had a wake up call. I was in the middle of a family reunion and I just blew up out of nowhere. And then I lost it and couldn't understand what was going on. It's gone. We do have interaction, but that intimacy, and then she just got up a wall. I tried the self-help side of things, and all it did is confuse me because I felt that it was all over the place.
What was the conflicting advice you were getting?
You could go to YouTube, then watch a video that tells you how to gain communication back. And you watch the video, but I would feel that there's still things missing. I couldn't really implement or internalize that message. I'm getting the feedback. There's this peace on you. Why are you so calm? And I go, yeah, man, I feel good. I'm not rushed. I'm more understanding, more empathy towards my coworkers.
Hey guys, welcome to this interview with Carlos. Carlos recently joined Amazing Match Fast Track, and I've asked Carlos, are you willing to share your experience? I know you're new in the program, haven't covered even 5% or 10% of the program, but you've seen some pretty cool things happening already. What I think is really helpful about it is there are a lot of guys out there who are sitting quietly, feeling lonely, feeling lost, wondering, why is my marriage the way it is? What can I do about it? Where do I turn? I really appreciate and respect the fact that you're taking that time, because most guys, even when they turn around their marriage, they don't really want to talk about it. They don't really give and share details that allow other men to get hope. So Carlos, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of how long you're married, a little bit of context.
Okay. I have 2 kids, 5 and 4. I've been together with my wife for 7 years. I'm a business owner and very, very excited, happy to share my experience, because I agree that we need to help men recognize the early stages where things are not going the way we want them to go, so that we can actually be more proactive instead of reactive when these things happen. That is my reasoning for being here, to pretty much tell people that it's best to recognize these things early instead of taking action when things are more damaged.
Exactly. And when you say recognizing things early, you're referring to the marriage cancer that I speak very often about on this YouTube channel. And you guys can check out the marriage cancer video in the link under this video. Some guys wake up once they're in severe crisis, and
Correct.
some guys wake up a little earlier. Can you talk a little bit about what was going on in your marriage that made you feel, oh my God, I got to do something about this?
I had a wake up call, pretty much. I was in the middle of a family reunion and then I just blew up out of nowhere and I couldn't understand why. And then I just lost it and I couldn't really understand what was going on. I did a lot of research and that's kind of how I found you, David.
When you say, do you mind to explain a little bit about when you say you lost it, if you're okay with it?
I recall that my son was pretty close to the pool and I felt that he was in danger. The pool was half empty. And then my wife looked at me and gave me the eye, and that triggered me and got me pretty upset. It was a very weird feeling, but I just left the reunion that was happening.
And what did that do to the relationship between you and your wife?
Oh, well, man, pretty bad, because I didn't realize that it's her family, right? Her side of the family. She felt disrespected. She felt that I was out of place. And that reaction literally was the breaking point.
What did she do?
Pretty much that day, I literally left, David. I said, I don't want to deal with this. It was my pride, myself. I was offended to that reaction.
Offended by her reaction?
Yeah, I was offended because on my eyes at the time, I was just trying to protect my son, right? That was my view. But I never really saw that there was other people around, that she was uncomfortable with the way I was reacting. She said that my voice was too loud. Yeah, I just lost it.
See, and I have to comment, because some guys watching this would be like, that doesn't sound like such a big deal. My wife served me with divorce papers. My wife is having an affair. My wife is out there drinking with her girlfriends. And what they're missing is that the severity of the marriage cancer, it does get worse over time. But where it starts, like you said in the beginning, the earlier stages happen in these actual, what seems to be benign interactions. They don't seem to be big deals. In the eyes of the wife, they are a big deal. And that's an important distinction over here. What happened when she came home? What happened to the connection between you two as a result of that?
It's gone. It's gone. We do have interaction, but that intimacy, and then she just got up a wall. Thanks to studying your material, I'm able to understand why it's there and allows me to work on myself as using her wall as a reflection of me so that I can improve.
That wall, I believe you moved out of the bedroom when that happened. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, initially I left the house actually, David.
You left the house, then you're sleeping in separate rooms.
Yeah.
What were the dynamics of the relationship, the communication, the connection between you and your wife a couple of weeks ago before you joined the program? What was it like when you were trying to talk to her?
I could tell that she was trying to work it out in herself. Most of the time, she'll be very emotional. I could see her expression very, very defensive on her end.
And what did that do to you?
On one side, I had guilt, and then on the other side, I had a commitment to kind of fix things on my end.
And we'll get to that commitment in terms of what you did. But I think what a lot of guys will be interested in, because this is happening to them as well, is how did the tension and the disconnect between you and your wife affect your kids? The actual impact of the marriage cancer on the kid before you joined Amazing Marriage Fast Track, before we started working together, how were the kids reacting or being affected by what was going on between you and your wife?
My son was hyperactive. For some reason, David, he wasn't at ease when I was around. I talked to my father-in-law about the situation, and even my wife mentioned that he wasn't at ease when I was around. And I couldn't really understand why that was the case. With my daughter, it was a close relationship. It's always been good. The relationship was always very solid with her.
You're saying with
very
your
strong
son that was different. That was affected. So you said before you were committed to fixing it. What did you try to fix it when you were doing it on your own? Talking about before you joined AMFT, before we started working together, what were the processes, the systems, the videos? You were probably doing a bunch of different things. What did you try?
Well, on my end, I checked some videos that were kind of related. I tried to internalize what was happening, but I was getting more confused. So I tried the self-help side of things, and all it did is confuse me because I felt that it was all over the place.
Can you give me an example when you say all over the place? Like what was the conflicting advice or misaligned advice that you were getting?
I mean, you get a thing like, for instance, you could go to YouTube, then watch a video that tells you how to gain communication back, right? And you watch the video, but then I would still feel that there's still things that are missing that I couldn't really implement or internalize that message.
And how long were you trying to do this by yourself?
Let's say probably about 2 to 3 weeks.
That's crazy. I'm seeing crazy in a good way. What's amazing about the fact that you just spent 2, 3 weeks on that is that most guys will spend on average 6 to 12 months. And some guys just stay stuck in that for years. And they don't realize that they're just causing so much more damage to their marriage and so much more anxiety to themselves. So when you say 2, 3 weeks to you, that might have been painful, and it probably was, or it was certainly difficult. But I have to say, I have a lot of respect for the fact that it was just 2, 3 weeks, because most men have this almost like idolatry belief of, I'm going to do this by myself. I'll figure it out by myself. It's like trying to make a root canal in your own mouth. A YouTube video can't show you how to do that.
Let me expand on that there because
Sure.
I think it'll be valuable for your viewers. Once I got into the program, right, you could probably attest that I just went too fast and I had to slow myself down because me taking action so fast was actually causing more damage. And I could recognize that I was causing damage for going too fast and not really understanding that I needed to first grasp and understand myself before I could go and try to fix things. I hope that provides a little bit of value. Take action early and make sure you understand things first before you take action and try to fix things.
Right, because it's about intelligent action. It's not just about moving. It is more about moving in the right direction and then moving at the right pace. And the first thing you got to do is truly understand what's going on. And we'll get to that soon. Was there a specific point where you said, like a breaking point, where you're like, okay, I need a step-by-step process. I need a complete strategy. I need a mentor. I need a coach. I need a complete comprehensive approach. You recall a specific point is my question.
Yeah, I was watching several different people and all I did, it was feeling confused. And I said, all right, I got to find someone that I could trust, that I feel that the process aligns with my values and that can guide me through this because, I mean, I don't know what I don't know. And I don't want to go and try to fix things and make things worse, like I've probably done thousands of times in the past. So that's where I made the decision that I needed a guide to navigate through this. And I'm glad I did.
What made you feel, though, that the process that I teach was aligned with your values? What was it? Because now that you're in the program is very different. But before you joined the program, before you made that commitment, yeah, what told you that, hey, this is really what I need?
Oh, your approach, David, it's deeper. I knew that I didn't wanted a band-aid on the problem. I wanted a permanent solution. And when I got introduced to your principles, I realized that I was dealing with the bigger problem that I thought. And to simplify it, I just didn't want a band-aid on the problem. I said, I got to get to the bottom of it and correct it properly.
When you say the principles that I teach, we're talking about the free training before guys join the program. What were
Mhm.
those principles that resonated with you?
Well, it was mainly when you pretty much you were saying some of these things that you're doing, they're not gonna work, and then you explain the why. And then I got to the end and I said, yeah, exactly, because I've done some of those superficial things. You mentioned about you work on yourself, right? That's pretty much when I realized that the source of the problem was me. And it was something that I had to work internally in me to be able to fix the problem. So I was able to capture before joining the program that we were going to go pretty deep into my behavior, some of the things that got me up to this point. And when I realized that, I said, I got to reach out and get these moves.
Just from the things that I said on the YouTube channel, you felt like this is going to become about you and it's going to
Correct.
allow you to go deeper. Let's fast forward because I think what guys are going to be very interested in, okay, you join the program, you sign up, AMFT, Amazing Marriage Fast Track. What's the first thing that happens internally inside of you as you go through the training?
Oh man, so many things. I started realizing that all of my patterns and my behaviors were automatic reactions. That a lot of these things were building up, and that pretty much I would go back into other times where I reacted in a similar way and realized that it was mainly all of those were unconscious behaviors per se.
So you go through those realizations, you go through the training. What is the first change you start seeing? We're talking about this started 9 days ago. What is the first
Uh,
change you start seeing, let's say, with the relationship of your son, who was experiencing
oh,
more tension before?
yeah, he got closer. He got closer. He wanted to spend time with me. I spent more time with him, and I developed some type of patience that I never really had before after realizing I was wrong in the way I was seeing things.
So the person you are right now, 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
that was not the energy your son felt from you.
No, no, actually, my son is different. You'll be surprised. I took him in an outing to the beach, and he's grabbing my hand when he would always be chasing his mom. So now he goes after me. And it's weird because now it's me and my kids together, and the wife in the back. We're in the front. Very strange, but at the same time, I can sense that I'm doing the right thing and that I'm taking care of me and I'm the source of those things and the kids can sense my energy. It has improved tremendously on that side. And it didn't took long, David, on my end. It didn't took long for
I
them
think
to.
you told me about it on Thursday last week, like 3 days into the program, something like that. If not
Yeah.
2 days, it was super quick. And the beautiful thing about that is because kids do not have the same type of buildup of marriage cancer. And again, for the guys who are new, check out the video about marriage cancer in the description under this video. When there is a buildup of a negative experience and negative opinion of you in your wife's brain, that buildup is typically not as severe in the brain of your children. It
Mhm.
depends on age, it depends on many factors, which is beyond the scope of today's video. But when you get that confirmation, what is that like to a father when you're like, okay, wow, I am influencing, I am a leader? What does it do internally to you as a man to feel that you really are showing up as a dad?
Just very interesting, man, because a couple of days even into it, I experienced peace, relief, mainly peace, David. That's pretty much what I experienced after that.
Okay. And how can you see that the relationship and your interaction with your kid is being picked up by your wife, even if she's not officially commenting on it?
She just I would say that, like you said, since she is a little bit more affected, she's still kind of like still behind the wall, being conservative about my change. I feel that she's probably testing, making sure that what I'm doing is sustainable for the long run. But definitely, it's right there.
It's subtle. What can you see from the way she observes, the way you interact with the kids, or any hints that she's giving that she sees something, she's
Mhm,
reacting a little bit differently? Yes, she's still stuck in the past. I mean, for God's sake, you're
mhm,
still new, right?
mhm.
But what
Yeah,
can you see from the way she's looking, things she's saying, from her facial expressions, her interactions? Is there anything you can see that tells you
yeah.
she's noticing something, but she's just inhibited?
Yeah, I could see kind of like the quick look and then the eyesight goes somewhere else. I've seen it. Yeah, like a quick look and then move the attention somewhere else.
And a quick look
Uh,
is on what?
just on checking what we're doing. That's not very common on her. We usually just stare at each other and do those things, and I could tell that she looks and then she looks away. And I can sense going into it, being careful on what she sees, making sure. But I could tell that it has had an effect on her because I'm more calm all the way, David. And it's not something that I'm trying hard to do or anything. It just feels natural, if that
That's
makes sense.
important. That's an important piece because when it feels natural for you, it actually builds the confidence in her that this is the real you. Versus if what you were doing was feeling inauthentic and difficult for you, to her it would seem like a show, like an act, like something
Right.
temporary that's going to change. It's not the real you, that's not going to last. So I think it's important for the men watching this to understand that the changes you make in your marriage and really the changes you make in your personal transformation have to be the types of changes that really reflect who you are on your best version, not just something superficial that you saw in some YouTube video and you combined it with somebody else's Facebook post together with another Instagram idea and another TikTok video and kind of hope that something sticks. Doesn't work that way. You
Mhm.
actually need a complete process. And I think what you said, Carlos, is very interesting. Like when she gives the look where she's observing what's going on with you and the kids, and then she looks away, you can see both sides, a part of her that's torn, which is natural in what's going on. Like, hey, he's becoming something I want, but is this real? Is it just a show? Is it just a reaction to the fact that I put up a wall against him? How would you compare having a step by step process, having a complete strategy that feels natural versus where you were before, taking videos, combining things? How would you compare the? I know it's not even like an intelligent question because they're two different things, but if you could elaborate a little bit on explaining to guys the difference between those two scenarios that you went through yourself, how would you explain that?
How would I be able to explain that? Look, when I was doing the YouTube, it felt rushed, it felt reactive. And then when I started working with you, I was studying and self reflecting and making internal change. That when I had the interactions with the kids with my wife, it was more natural. It would flow. I must admit that the more I learn, the more I see where I make mistakes, but I'm able to recognize those and say, I made a mistake right there. I need to get better at this. Not necessarily apologize when I don't need to, admit when I'm wrong, which is different because a lot of those apologies would come from a place of neediness and not being authentic. So I'm being very careful even throughout the process, making sure that anything I'm doing comes from the heart and it's not anything intended to please her or get a result.
Right, because a lot of the apologies guys make is beyond what you're saying. It can also be perceived as controlling. So I'm apologizing for the purpose of getting a reaction from her
Mhm.
to so that she can change her decision about our relationship or her opinion about me. And when she senses that that's the reason why you're apologizing, you're going to have a problem because that goes right into feeding the negative picture of you that's in her head that I talk about a lot in the
Mhm.
cat and the waiter story, which you guys, if you haven't seen it, check it out in the subconscious communication video under this video. The reason why guys make so many mistakes with apologizing is because apologies have to be strategic. You have to know what you're apologizing for, when to apologize, what to have in place before you apologize, and to make sure you're doing it in a way that you're not leading with any needy energy. Now, some guys might be watching this and saying, okay, great, I'll go do this by myself. I'm going to do some self reflection. I'll make sure to speak from my heart. I'll make sure that I'm just going to be authentic to myself and I'm going to do this on my own, by myself. I'm just going to keep on doing it by myself. What would you say to such a guy if he was your brother and he says, Carlos, thank you. This is great. I'm going to just work on it by myself. What would you tell him?
Man, I would say prevent yourself from some pain. You don't need to go that path. You go to a mechanic to fix your car. You go to a doctor to fix your body. These issues are not something that you can just go and fix on your own. It's just gonna cause more pain. I'm glad I took action early, and I still see the mistakes I keep on making for rushing
Yeah,
things, right?
yeah,
So I would just say, look, there's two paths, right? The one that you could try on your own or the one that you allow someone to guide you. I could tell you from my experience that what I'm experiencing is very deep. When it comes to subconscious communication, I'm able to see every thought that goes through my head and literally flip it and switch it right there and then, because I realized that interferes on every interaction I have, not with just my wife, with my coworkers, with everybody. And changing that, they've been telling me, Carlos, there's like this peace in you. What's going on? And I
So you
don't
get
need
that feedback already.
I'm getting the feedback. There's this peace in you. Why are you so calm? Just like, what's going on? And I go like, yeah, man, I feel good. I'm not rushed. I'm more understanding, more empathy towards my coworkers. And that's why if I was to tell someone, look, I'm not all the way to the end. I
That's the interesting part. What you're saying is very much from the beginning. Eventually, what I would love to do, and I think the guys on the channel will be interested in seeing, is an interview with you in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months from now. Because once you get really good, and it doesn't take too long, once you get really good at identifying your inner cat and some of those subconscious communication blocks, you're going to very quickly be able to read what's going on in your wife's head. That's the next level when we start working on your higher
well,
identity.
man, let me tell you this right here because I think it'll have value. It's that when you said to understand what's going on in her head, you need to see what's going on in yours. I started watching every thought that would come into my head and knowing how negative it was and say, no, you don't belong here, toss it away. When it comes to the people that I work with, any negative thought that, oh, this person don't want to be productive, they just killing time, then I just flip
When you say
those
coworkers,
thoughts.
you're talking about these are people that work for you. You have like 50 people working for you, but you refer to them as coworkers. Just so guys have context.
Yeah,
I want people to
yeah,
understand that.
because
You run a
uh,
company.
yeah, so I run the company. I do believe that everybody works for themselves. We
Right.
just happen to work together.
Right.
Everybody goes with their personal goals, but I could tell you that those interactions on my side, I just had a meeting this morning that went amazing, and I was more open to listening and how do I add value to you? How do I make your job easier? And it's very sincere, and I'm present because of just analyzing all of the subconscious communication that I had with
Yeah,
them.
it's amazing.
Let me share this with you because I think it'll really highlight on the viewers what was in the past, the contrast. Because probably about 8 years ago, I had a secretary. She was in another office location that was managed by one of my leaders. And I really rarely ever talked to her unless it was necessary, like show her how to use CRMs, how to do certain things. And she would be always saying that it didn't matter how well she did her job or how great she was, that she would never be enough or good enough for me. And I couldn't understand why she would say that. I barely talk to this lady. She doesn't know me. What's going on? And then fast forward 8 years into the future, I go like, I didn't need it to say anything. I had to believe that other people, even though now I understand that they're in their journey, their goals, their effort, that's all it is. It's not that they're more, it's not that they're less, and they deserve to be loved and taken from the place that they're at to a better place. And if I'm able to take them from where they're at to a better place, then it benefits us as a company, right? It benefits us as a team.
Right. And
So that just benefits all around, David.
and to simplify it for guys watching, because what you just said that was pretty deep, but to simplify it, it's like there are things that go on in your head that people can read, whether you like it or not, and they react to them. When you make some changes in phase one of AMFT, people start feeling it. They start seeing the difference. What keeps you excited about the future?
I'm uncovering a version of me, David, that can relate to others and that is not hiding anymore. It is it's very vulnerable, but it's very powerful. And there's a lot of freedom. I know that I still gotta study, complete the course, but I could tell you that based on what the program entails, becoming a better version of myself and intention who I want to become and why, make the changes internally, David, and then let everything else fall into place without forcing it, without rushing it. A huge thank you for slowing me down. I made that analogy of the oak tree, right? It takes 30, 50 years, 100 years for that oak tree to reach its max potential. And there's nothing I could do to rush the process. There's nothing. So for the viewers, it's going to be a process. It's going to be painful. There's going to be growth. And I'm excited to go and face my demons, face the things that hold me back to be able to connect with my kids, with my family, with the co-workers, other people.
That's
So,
beautiful. Well, I could
go.
talk to you for another hour, but I know that you have to go right now. So I'm going to
Yeah.
let you go. And I'm excited to continue this conversation with you. And it's so true. Becoming your best version is not just a guessing game, it's really a process of intelligently doing it and carefully, cautiously, and then applying it into your marriage. And for guys who want to explore that with me, you can book an evaluation with me. As Carlos will tell you, it is a process, it's an interview. There's quite a few things we've got to check through and make sure you're compatible for the program. Carlos, I just want to thank you for your time. I look forward to continuing this conversation with you in another 3-4 weeks. I think there's a lot of changes that you're going to see, which I think the viewers will find fascinating as you go on and start applying this into your life with your wife.
And as long as we can help someone make the decision and kind of save them a little bit of the pain of try to figure it out by themselves, David, I think it's worth it. So I'm looking forward to continue working hard in myself so that I can be a testimony to help others on that end.
Well, I appreciate your time, and
Absolutely.
I'll be with you on this path. And it's an incredible journey. I have a lot of respect for it, and thank you for letting me be part of your journey.
No, thank you for setting it up for us. Thank you, David.
For guys who want to explore what it means to be your best version and how to apply it to your marriage, you can book an evaluation with me under this video, and we'll have a chat to see if AMFT is for you or not. The most important thing is to find someone that aligns with you and then listen to them. It might be me. It might not be me. It might be somebody else, but don't do this on your own. That is definitely one takeaway I get from this video with Carlos.